Okay, I have the digital readout basically installed. There's my y-axis down here. I put the shield over it, and I used silicone. I didn't put any screws in it, but just put silicone on it last night. It's solid now. Got my x-axis all mounted up, and got the screws drilled and got everything dialed in, and I ended up having to put 31,000 shim under this side. Their extrusion too runs 0 over here, drops about 8 to 9 thou, and then back to about 2 thou down the other end. So I'm going to turn it on here. I got it all hooked up. Alright. So, what I'm set up to do is check to see if I need any linear compensation. So, I've got a 1, 2, 3 block here, and I got one clamped on my vise. I checked the vise to make sure it was dialed in. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to put that up against it. And we're going to crank over until it touches. And the needle goes to 0. Right there. And I'm going to zero out my X. I just zeroed out my X here. And now we're just going to back off. I don't know what size my 1, 2, 3 block is, so we'll see. Let's see what it is at. And we'll go to 0 right there. It's 1 thou and 9/10. So now I got to go check to make sure at what size my 1, 2, 3 block really is. So what I'll do is I'll take it over here on the surface plate. I'm going to set you in because 1, 2, 3 blocks, yes, they're supposed to be 1, 2, 3. Sometimes aren't. Sometimes they're 1 thou heavy. Sometimes they're 1 thou light. I'm looking for my little. Oh, there it is. Sometimes they're 1 thou light. Sometimes they're 1 thou heavy. You know, it depends. And I'm going to have to clean out a spot over here due to my catalog gauge. So, I'm just cleaning out, clearing a spot so I can get my high stand in here. Too much stuff going on here. Alright, so now we'll take the indicator and up here, and we'll set it at 0 on top of the. And this will tell me if I need any compensation over there. Linear compensation. Compensation. Alright. Lock that. And this is at 0. Now we'll go over to the catalog gauge. Let's see if I can clear a spot for the camera here. So we're over here on the catalog gauge. And I'm going to crank it down below that. Get in on this number 3 ledge, 3-inch ledge. And we'll crank it to 0. Finish the 0. And here it's saying it's actually a foul light. See? So I'm going to dig out my I'm going to go ahead and dig out my gauge blocks instead here. 1, 2, 3 blocks, like I say, 1, 2, 3 blocks are not always 1, 2, 3. as a lot of people think, but they're not. Alright, let's see if I can find a 3-inch jewel block on my set. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to wipe some of the oil off. I got them oiled up so they don't rust because they don't get used very often. Yeah, working. Alright, so we're going to make sure, let me move it back over here. Yeah. Where did I have you? I must have been holding you. Okay, well, I'm just going to get the indicator at 0. Indicator's at 0. I'm going to 0x. And I'm just going to move out. Just moving out away from and like I say, I dial this in so I know this is straight and so we slide that in there. I'm holding it up against the 1, 2, 3 block, and we'll come in here and we'll get our 0. 0. 3/10. And what did I get with the 1, 2, 3 block? 1 something. So either I got a little chip or something going on that 1, 2, 3 block. You know, it could be that I have had something on here. Made in Japan. Actually, that tells me that they're fairly old because everything now is made in China. I'm just running a stone across it just to make sure. I'm kind of curious. Although I get one thing at the Cadillac gauge and one thing over here, so which is right? Well, my toe block's right. I know that. So I'm thinking that readout is right too. Need to clean my Cadillac gauge up. Okay. Right there. That's better. It's telling me that it's just about a foul high. Now I want to go back over the surface plate because I'm not convinced that my Cadillac gauge can be that far off. Let me. Okay. I'm just double checking. Yeah, see now, moving it from one surface plate to the other. Right there, 0. 0. And that's better. It's telling me that it's like 4/10 off. So we're within half a thou on X. Now I got to devise a way to do Y-axis. But I could come off of the back jaw here. I'm going to try that. Open the vise up further and then come off that back jaw. Just want to check things, make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to. Spend money on a DRO. I want it to be somewhat accurate. Although for my work, if it's within a couple thou, it would be fine. It would work for me. So now we're gonna push it into there. And get across the top, yep. Turn my indicator. Alright, I don't know if you can see the indicator or not. I hope you can. I'm going to put that 0 straight down. Right there. 0 my Y up here. And I'm going to back away from it. And then I'm going to bring it into the vice jaw. And it better say 3. And then straight down. Right there. It's not saying it's a couple thou off, but that might be something down in this. Let's raise it up here. You know what? I'm going to take the Joe block, lay it on there, and then lay my 1, 2, 3 block on top of the Joe block. Because I know that 1, 2, 3 block is only about half thou large, so it's actually that's actually a 3" and 5/10 Joe. It's a 1, 2, 3 and 5/10. All right. So 0 my Y. Oh, I can't do that because that could mean my head. If my head wasn't dialed in, the machine head wasn't dialed in, perfect. It would give me an error if I move it up and down. So I got to stay in one position on Z. But let's just, for shits and giggles, just see. Oop. 1.5 thou. I'm going to 0 it there. Back it away. Pull that out. And come up and see what we get here. It could be a flaw in the vice jaw too, really. That's kicking the 1, 2, 3 block out to make it look large. Okay, 0. That's saying it's 1 3/10. So I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to do it with the Joe block now. That's got a smaller footprint. So with a smaller footprint on there, maybe, because maybe, like I say, maybe it's picking up something. I haven't totally inspected this jaw. It might be a little ding, or I'd have to take the jaw off and totally inspect that jaw in order to get it down to 0. Okay, and then 0, back away, pull it out. I got to convince myself. If you're wondering why I'm continuing, I got to convince myself that it's right. I've been wanting the DRO for a while now. My eyes are giving out. 3/10. So that's what it is. It's picking up. I should take that jaw out. See, I don't have a surface grinder now to dust that off, but it's obviously picking up some kind of ding here somewhere. Oh, I feel something right there. But anyway, I am convinced that it's working. Kind of like it, really. I mean, I read the book, or read the pamphlet on it, as far as setting. You can set the linear compensation on it, and plus I can do whole circles over here now with without having to sit and figure it all out. Say I want to do a hole pattern from that spot. Just go down here and hit hole pattern, and it tells me center. Okay, I'm at the center right now. So you enter that. Diameter, say 1 inch. I want a 1 inch diameter. And we enter that 1 inch diameter. And then it says number of holes. Let's say I want just 4 holes. And enter. And the starting angle, where do you want the first hole? I'm going to go 0. I'm going to say 0, which would be the left side. So we'll just go 0. Enter. And then the ending angle. So if we're at 0, we want to end up at 360. No. 270. The last hole would be at 270. Clear. Yep, 270 is already in there. Enter. Okay. Now it's telling me number 1 hole. Crank my XO over 500. Although my X needs to be inverted. I have to invert that because that should be an X minus. Okay, but say I cranked it over to the 500. You know, because to do the first hole, you crank it to 0 again, or somewhere close to 0. It'll give you the right number anyway. And then you go hole number 2. Now we go minus 500. Well, 503. Actually, it's and y plus 500. So it's going inward. So now it's to the back. So then I go next, and it should be to the right. It should be y0 and then to the right. So hole number 3, 1 inch from where I'm sitting because I cranked it over. If I'd have stayed on this, now it should be toward us. Should be back to 500, and then this one should be 500 also. Ta-da! But I think that's kind of neat, a neat little function. And then you want to go back to, and just clear out of there. There we go. Now I got to invert that. So in order to do that, I got to turn it off and then go into the setup mode, turn it on, and hit that right away. Now we're in the setup mode. Resolution, that's whatever your scale resolution is, and it's a 5 resolution scale. So direct. See, I had already changed my Y. I didn't change my X, so I got to go there. Now it'll change the X back to, and now I can hit the. Now, if I zero it out and I crank the table to the right, it should go minus, and it does. And table to the left should be a positive. So that's set up, right? I could have bought the Y or a Z-axis scale also, but I didn't. I can always switch this one over to the lathe and buy a 3-axis, but I can switch from absolute to incremental. Oh, and another thing I found interesting was which was I thought was kind of neat, is say you want to drill a hole and you want to drill them off to the right at an angle. You just hit a line and then the line length. Left, length, and 1 inch. Enter. Angle. If you know the angle, you put that in 45 degrees. Enter. And number of holes, 3. Enter. Okay, hole number 1 is at 0, 0. And then the next hole should be 3, 5, 3. And it's going up at an angle, and that's 45. Have it? Anyway, I just thought that was kind of neat. So, anyway, got everything mounted. I got to clean up everything now, clean up the mess. I still got to put the shield on back here, and I'm going to do the same thing. But I got to get some rubber for my weight cover. I took my weight cover off and kind of wrecked it, so I got to put the bracket on, put the weight cover back on. Matter of fact, I'm going to get some rubber because what I have is this cheap vinyl and it just doesn't hold up very well. So, but anyway, I'm happy with it. Now I don't have to look at the dials anymore. I can look at numbers. The only thing I wish I would have done different, well, I can just move that back, I guess, and then turn this. Because this is kind of in the way sometimes. If it should be alright. I don't know why they put a tool holder on, a collet holder there, but I got my collets back there on the regular rack. But, quite honestly, that thing was pretty damn cheap for the price. I've been looking at them, and they were always, $400 or $500. I got this one for $150, I think it was. The mounting kit kind of left a lot to be desired, but I'll bet you the $500 kit is the same way. So that'll breathe new life into my mill again, because I've been always cheating and not doing anything manual. I've been going over here and programming it and running it over here on my NC, which, sometimes it's, because the last one up here is the last thing that I made over here was a chain sprocket. And if I draw it, I milled it out. And it worked. That's the sprocket I got on back here, and now I don't like it. I want to go to a smaller sprocket. I want to go to a diameter about half of that, less than half of that diameter. So I'll have to go and figure out a program for it and recut it. Or I could go over and use that hole function for the first time. You know, just drill holes. You know, take a diameter big enough and drill the holes. Of course, then I don't have that. I'd have to hand blend the angles, or just hit them all with a file, because I'd cut the major diameter then. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that I did get it all put together and set up. So, and I'm happy with it. So I got to go and leave a good comment on my on the eBay. I am going to mention their shipping though. The shipping package really sucked. I'm surprised it got here and still works. So that's going to be it. Catch you guys later.